Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game on Timian map. I'm using France for this game, and my opponent's also using France for this game. So we've got I'll get the production tab on just to keep an eye on build orders. I'm in the bottom right with the reds. My opponent's up here with the green, and I do use this colour myself. In fact, I do actually have the green a little lighter, but the thing is, sometimes when you're this colour, it's actually hard to tell whether an oil derrick has been captured or not, which is why I don't use that colour much. But, you know, if you want to use that as an advantage, because I have literally thought an oil derrick wasn't captured because it was a really pale green team that captured it, and I could hardly tell. I think it was because it was on Kosovo map, which is a bright green background, so it didn't look... I've lost a rifleman, and he almost got the engineer, very nearly. That was very close timing. Oh dear, I'll have to remember that. A couple of seconds too early. 6 men can get there, and an engineer before my guy arrives, and that was... the engineer was trained, and then the first rifle out I sent here, and he just arrived a moment too soon. But my opponent's placed his refineries at the separate ore patches. It's down to personal choice whether you do that. I keep mine at the largest patch. I want this mined out, and if possible, get it mined out, and then I've got the option to place wall sections if I want to. I don't always get time. I don't always remember to. But I do like to use wall sections if I can, if I feel free to, or that they're necessary. Look, my opponent's going here to capture this. So he hasn't already. That's unusual. And we're at the 2.5 minute mark, so my rocket troops are being churned out, and so are my opponents. But let's just check on the armies. 11 rifles, is that? To 23. So he's got 2 rockets, I've got 3. Now, you need 3 rockets at the 2 minute mark. I train 3 rockets, sometimes with a rifle or 2 in between, but they need to be built pretty quick. You need more than 2 by this point, because a vehicle can defeat his army. You know, with 2, you can kill 2, and then a second vehicle would mean the end of you, basically. At this point, a second APC or a second light tank, especially if there's a horde of troops following it. Now he's got his scout vehicle to help him. That's got the best view range of the early vehicles. It's very good. It's one of the best view ranges of any vehicle, in fact. There you go, he's sniped that guy. That was a nice find. And I left this guy to see if he could avoid, being spotted, but no. And I thought, I'll go around this way, because I want to avoid being spotted running straight up to that. And this is my viewpoint. I can see nothing at this point. The enemy can't either, but now we can both see, so we both appeared to each other. He's destroying mine, I'm capturing his, so let's see his reaction. I wasn't aware of any of this, obviously. I just realised that he's destroyed my oil derrick with what looked like a fairly decent army. So let's actually check the size. 5,400 to me, 4,200 to my opponent, so I've got a larger army, slightly. I've got a few units defending my base. You don't need a lot protecting your base early on. It's more important the positioning, because if the enemy were to move around with an APC, I'd likely hear it or see it. You know, but they could use a rocket drop on my eco patches. I need to watch for that. You should spread around a couple of rifles around your ore patches, just so that if they drop off 5 rocket troops, they can't blow away your ore truck straight away. Because it's happened to me lately. It's happened a couple of times, and it takes skill to do. It takes skill to do it well. Otherwise, putting 5 rocket troops into an APC and then using them in that way, if you lose them, that's a big loss early on. 5 rocket troops, like, How many have I got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So losing 5 would mean I've got 3 rocket troops at 5 minutes. That's, you know, it's a considerable investment, but a lot of players build them at a higher ratio than I do. I think 3 to 1 or 2 to 1 is good, because it means your units of infantry can take on anything. You've got enough rifles and plenty of rockets. So with basic tank screening, your units are okay, but if you have very few rockets in your infantry groups, you can't really fight as effectively. This is the early game, so I am struggling. My opponent's got 10 grand army, but his positioning is so much better. Look, he's moving up here, and he's got this force round here, snuck round, but he hasn't got a vehicle with it. Now he's caught my construction yard, look. And I've packed it up, and I've placed a wall because I was trying to place defences, but it is actually blocking enemy fire. Look at that, and my missiles are flying over the wall, so there is an example of how good the wall is, and his tank shell hit the wall as well. Yes, that actually turned out to be effective. Now this force here, look, is idle. My MCV escaped, but now I've got my tanks into position, I've got no problems. Look, the MCV's leaving. Not because it's fleeing, it's actually because I can't expand this way, I need to expand. So that's why my home base MCV is moving out. Now, these guys chewed through my infantry, look. I got ripped apart because they were just in a very nice little formation, veterans, and ready. So I thought, no, why send them into a meat grinder? I'll just wait here and inside my structures where I've got the advantage and let them come to me. And then when I've got spare units, I'll lead with the tank and finish them off. This force, look, I'm doing quick expansion, setting up an oil refinery and moving on here, but checking that it's clear and applying a bit of pressure. But I saw that this wasn't good. I shouldn't be applying pressure here. I pushed it, and I knew I was, but I backed off eventually. I knew I couldn't push through there. It's a small force, but I knew I couldn't do it. It would leave me with nothing to win that engagement. It would be pointless. But here we are, I'm setting up another expansion. He's taking out my oil derrick. Very nice, that's nice and proactive. I've fallen back here. I'm at 10,000 army value, he's at 7,000. But I've got enough here to protect my base. I'm happy there. This, I'm fairly confident, is protected, and these forces are going to keep an eye out. But I've got a very weak force protecting my front line, and I placed a refinery here. That was a mistake. I wanted to place it here. Now this force, look, went to attack them, and they've moved out. But I saved the ore truck in time, luckily. He's going to drop off his ore and then start mining here. But this force are going to kill them. Then the tank provides better view range. And the enemy haven't got vehicles. Look, you see, I can see them. They can't. They're going to hit the tank anyway when they attack. But here we go, he's moving on an eco-raid here. The perfect timing, because that's where all my main ore trucks are, because I put both refineries there. So here we go, I know I'm going to lose this. I'm training units here and trying to move my forces into position because it's a reasonable little force. He's got, you know, there's a salvo of rockets coming off them. There's a base defence. I've started finally placing them, although the shots just bounced off the tank. It's buying me time, and here you go, my formation superior. Base defences. Now I should be microing them, but he can't hit many infantry anyway. Now he's sending a small force here, look. Very nice. That's good, he's being very active here, and this is the next best place to hit me, so he's done really well disrupting my eco supplies. There's 5 ore trucks there. That's so nice, and now he's got helicopters picking off my units. Now I need to finish that, I'm going to lose that tank. Oh, that was a nice crush, he got them all. But look, I've lost all those ore trucks, he's killed 5! And a refinery. Now he's hit these here, and I've got no refineries, so he destroyed 2 refineries. He's done a lot of damage, but I've hit him here. He was being too aggressive, so it's left him vulnerable. But I'm under artillery fire, and having to escape it, avoid this fire, but I want to take out the service depot. I'm at 17,000 army value, he's at 13.8. So let's look at the... He's in low power, and his helicopters have cleaned all my infantry out. There's the army values. I wanted to look at the economy. My opponent's got 3,000, I've got 1,700 and quickly losing it. I've got a small force here, but no tanks. The only tank is badly damaged. But I've taken out their power, and this force, I've left it sadly, although at least they had a shift command to kill structures until they finally died. But I couldn't attack here. I knew they were here, because of earlier on when, when I attacked earlier with my vehicles, but I can't attack because I've got no vehicles with these guys, so I thought, right, I'll move them ahead on an eco raid and get a vehicle to meet them. So this is the vital important point now, and the enemy's here. Only a tiny force though, going on an eco raid. And my money's run out. My opponent's at 6,000. I've got a 12,000 value army. My opponent's at 10, but I had to use this force on an attack. I had no choice. And I've got a decent eco raid here. He's had to move his units away, but my infantry, I chose the right direction because they moved here, caught an engineer, and now they're going to see this radar dome. Now the helicopter is literally slicing my troops apart, and the artillery, we're at 11,000. I've got 10,000 each. Now do I get the radar? I should have moved these infantry next to it, so the artillery shells cause splash damage and kill their own radar dome. They would quite easily have done that. Will they kill their own troops? No, not quite. But, yeah, the damage from the artillery would quite easily have killed their own radar dome. Now, they're at 14,000 and I'm at 10,000, so I'm in trouble here. And my economy, I've got 6 ore trucks though, they've got 3, so I've done damage. But his helicopters, look, he just slaughters any rocket troops he finds, and then he's free to chip away at my vulnerable assets. You know, dangerous. But I've got 6 ore trucks. How it's only through producing these and saving them, but here we go, we're on an attack and we've got 2 grand each. Right, I'm at 12,000, he's at 13,000, and he's got 3 artillery pieces. Right, I've got base defences defending this nicely, but he's on attack. What's he attack? Anything, I don't know. He had some sort of odd command there and he was just getting slaughtered, but he's wised up and he's just shelling things. But I've moved my MCV back to safety and I'm gathering a force here, and this is my counter-attack. Can't let him keep attacking. So there's his war factory down. Eventually, there you go. Base defence is opening up, helicopter. But now there's nothing to return fire because he's killed all the rocket troops. So now I've just got to focus on structures, and he's destroying my structures up here. I'm surprised I didn't save that ore truck. That's a shame. It's like I've forgotten about it. But he's building up an air force, look. I'm in trouble. And here we are, I got shift command, and we've got an attack on here, so we'll see how well I did. Keep an eye on that. Here we go. He'll never punch through there, although he's got artillery. 2 tanks left. I should have moved it up here. No, he won't make it. But yeah, I saw how weak this attack was and overran it, and I saw his artillery turn and run and thought, right, now surely it's turned in my favour. And I was lucky that my counter-attack was so effective and that he was being so aggressive, because I got in behind him basically. I'm at 14,000, he's at 9,000, and I caught him with an AA gun lock, because the range of that is massive, and this was giving it view range. It passed straight over an oil derrick. If he hadn't passed over that oil derrick, or if it had been destroyed, the AA gun wouldn't have seen it, because all the view range I would have would be about this. That's it. So those helicopters, I wouldn't have seen them. But because he flew over the oil derrick and it revealed them, this is my view range, look. See that oil derrick? It's giving me view range here. So that allowed this AA gun to shoot anything within that, you know, radius that can be seen. And the oil derrick allowed me to shoot all those helicopters. But I'm attacking here. He's saving his MCV. backing away defences and units, that's all he's got. But I'm bringing thieves in. I mean spies, sorry. I'm used to using thieves, so, but these are spies, I'm allies. But there's my artillery backing up my attack. I didn't produce my own air unit, sadly. But here we are, I've overrun this position, no problem. And I'm running out of cash though. And I'm trying not to waste spies. Will he get there in time? No, not quite. It was a second too late. I've got another spy, he's on his way to the next one. And I do need the money. He's got an MCV, he's moving. So he's got two. He can still build at this point and move units. Did we get the capture? The infiltration, you would have seen it on screen. And the economy would have told you how much. So I was just happened to be looking here at the time. But have we got any more on their way? It doesn't look like it. That's just a few spies that I employed. But that's that. It's over now. It turned in my opponent's favour and he did really well. He turned the game around and nearly had it. He was doing very well. It's just somehow his attack petered out and weakened as it moved and overran me here. And moved down this way. He ended up with quite a weak attack force, and I ended up with quite a strong force to defend it. Plus, this small force that I had did damage where it attacked the war factory and that. That did it. Sadly, by the time he reached here, he'd run out of steam. His army, it was finished. And he had to turn and run, but they got run down anyway. But it was a great game, that one. Really good battle. I enjoyed it. And I'm glad I used the allies because it was good practice for a sort of medium-length game. And that's always good practice when a game isn't over quickly and you have to play for a little bit longer. And it's a bit more challenging. It's always good. It always helps you improve with any faction when you're doing that. But here's the army graph. You can see, look at the combat. The ups and downs, and my opponent ahead of me at, let's see, about 11.5 minutes, he overtakes my army value, and his army value increases to about 14,000, I think, something like that. But at 12.5 minutes, that changes. He's losing army value, whereas I'm slowly gaining it. So there was obviously combat going on, but I was replacing losses quicker than I was suffering them. And by just after 12.5 minutes, we cross over, where I'm slowly increasing army size, but my opponent's still losing them at the same rate. But he does have another increase where we're almost the same army size again, and then that's when the final drop happens at about 13.5 minutes. So there's some ups and downs there for every 30 seconds towards the end. Here's the earnings graph. Yeah, my opponent needed more earnings for this bit here, definitely, because mine have taken off. It's a nice increase here, look, on both our earnings, but he started to kind of slow a little bit. But he was still doing okay. It's just this drop off. But yeah, he was doing well. Like, as far as I know for cash, he seemed to be doing alright. When I looked at the eco chart, I had to take some cash off him because I needed it that badly. But here's the armies, finishing armies. That's 15 or 16 medium tanks, a couple of artillery, enough said. Combat chart, I killed 214 units. My opponent killed 307. So that was a nice battle. He killed more than me, that's great. In fact, look, I destroyed 71,000 value. He destroyed 74,000 value. So that was a very close battle. That's really good, that. I lost 73,000, and my opponent lost 72,000. So it was a bit of splash damage, a bit of friendly fire or whatever from both of us. Yes, there was, because we both, although I've lost less than he's destroyed slightly, whereas he's lost more than I've destroyed. So he had friendly fire, whereas I'm not sure about that. It'll be something, some good reason. But there's the kills, yeah, 214 to 307. Very nice. And buildings, I lost 17, he lost 15. And I've finished with a 21,000 value army. Yeah, there's some good combat stats they are. No support powers in effect because I've got my radar dome, but I didn't. You don't get them with the helipad anyway. But I didn't build any higher tech. Economy tab. I earned 124,000. My opponent earned 82,000. So how the difference is so much? I'm not sure about that. Especially with the damage he did to my economy. You know, he did some savage damage up here at my main expansion. And then here as well in the centre, he got 5 ore trucks. And then he'd killed a few up here. So it was like 7 or something or whatever, I don't know. And then 3 refineries. That was brutal, that. So how on earth I can have such a higher earned amount, I don't know. But here's the basic tab. Actions per minute, I'm on 30. My score, 762 is my score. My opponent's is 700, so it's so close. You know, look at the lost value, 73,000 to 72,000. So I lost more in value than my opponent. Let me just check the combat chart again. I lost 73,300. He lost 72,500. So yeah, I've lost slightly more in value than he has, and he's killed more units of mine than I have his. Plus, I've lost more structures than him. So it was a hard-won victory, put it that way. But there's the combat charts and all that and everything for you. I hope you enjoyed the game. I did. It was a really fun game, and it wasn't expected. I didn't expect it to be such a challenging, fun game. You know, I didn't know what to expect. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. And for now, goodbye.
Battle control terminated.